Hello and welcome to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Today is a day, and I'm Silver. We have our normal host,
Chaotic.
and we are joined by a bird.
I also crunch femurs, apparently.
We're not going to talk about it or show them, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We'll just let you listeners wonder about that one.
Can I have the flashlight, please?
And why you're not allowed to have the flashlight back.
Today's episode is about the Griffin.
Woo!
Caw.
Okay, so quick question before we get started, because there has been some debating. Without looking it up, please describe me a griffin.
Usually like the head of an eagle usually has wings. Like an eagle. Isn't it like a lion's tail? Usually like lion's back feet. Yeah. Pretty sure that's it.
Bird, how did you know a griffin?
I described it as the eagle head, the eagle wings.
The eagle wings.
Eagle wings. Lion body and a lion tail with different feces.
Okay, you're on the same team as me.
What the fuck else is there?
Wait for this.
There is a current debate going on within the group. I think it was Mage, probably, or it could have been Ruby.
I think it was Ruby.
And then Mondi's wife. They know the griffin as having a lion's face.
I didn't realize that they were I knew they were wrong in a lot of instances, but I didn't realize they were wrong in instances. You know what I mean? Listen, I know that, J.K. Rowling's a piece of shit, but nobody watched Harry Potter. I know that he doesn't really have the hind end of a lion classically, but he has a hawk/eagle head.
That's what I said.
I figured that's where everybody would have at least gotten that from. I think the one in Harry Potter has a horse's hind end and a hawk front, but either way, it was still half bird at the front. There was no lion's head.
Well, that is a hippogriff, which is different than a griffin.
Oh, well, they have similarities.
They are similar because they are related.
But even the griffin beasts in Harry Potter, I'm pretty sure J.K. Rowling describes as an eagle with a lion's rear end. So I guess I would have thought that would, all of us growing up with that era would have known that.
The classic griffin has the standard arrangement of body parts with the eagle head and such, but there is actually a version of the griffin in certain cultures with the lion head.
I'm also disappointed in Ruby because I don't know if Ruby did or not. I thought maybe she had read the new Iron Flame series. The what is it actually called? Iron Flame's not the first one.
Fourth Wing,
the new Fourth Wing series. And there's Griffin riders in that, and the Griffins are described, because I would have figured Ruby would have read those. And if she hasn't, she should, because she's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Also, she tried to call me on Facebook earlier, and that's I have anxiety. You can't just do that. You can't just call me on Facebook.
Right, but I just wanted to check to see how you guys described him. And I got myself a plushie.
He's so cute. Look at him. He's very angry.
And his wings are actually positionable.
I love him.
It's a griffin from Belzy on Amazon. They have
I need
a
you guys to
series.
know that Silver just looked at this griffin's ass
and touched
to
it.
figure out where it was from.
That's where the tail is, or the tag.
Tail. No kidding. I didn't know that's where tails went.
Listen, in this version of this freaking griffin, we may not know where tails go.
You're right.
Just to recap all that, the griffin is usually a bird-faced, eagle-faced monster with the rear end of a lion, usually the front talons of a eagle on its front forelimbs. Eagle's tail, usually their ears are kind of pointed up, kind of like feather-covered lion ears or feather-covered horse ears sometimes. And its tail is also feathery. Sort of the poofball of the lion would be like a feathery poofball. And griffins are extremely smart in some stories.
Only some.
Like they can talk, they can speak, they love to guard treasures and other priceless possessions. Some historians also claim that the griffin preyed on elephants and giraffes for its food source. Also, it's about twice the size of a standard full-sized lion, which if you've seen a lion, they are massive. Now, if you would had to guess chaotic or bird, would you say a griffin gives live birth like a lion or lays eggs like a griffin, like an eagle?
I would say he lays eggs.
Eggs.
That would be correct.
Nice.
So they like to lay their eggs in rocky areas where when you find their nest, you usually find a bunch of gold nuggets, gems, precious items. They like to have a shiny nest.
It must be very glittery. Glitter and gold.
Sometimes along with the griffin's egg, you will find what is called a eagle stone along with it, also known as I believe it's an agate.
Oh, an agate? I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how I say it, so.
It's potato. Griffins are also kind of valued for their own material as well.
Oh, yeah?
Kind of like unicorns. And so the materials that people want from a griffin are its eggs, claws, and feathers, which you can probably imagine were probably faked quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The most valuable of the three parts of the griffin was the feather, because the feather was supposed to restore blindness.
Mm.
And everybody just wanted the eggs and the claws as well. Usually the claws were turned into drinking cups, and so were the eggs. Most of the time, the eggs were usually ostrich eggs, or in your case, fossilized dinosaur eggs.
Oh.
The feathers were palm fibers, kind of glued together and painted to make it look like a griffin's feather. And the claws were usually made out of horns, whether it's ibex horns, Asian buffalo horns, or other type of cow horns, bovine. The griffin really has no origin. It is pretty much one of those creatures that is worldwide, from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of connections back to Greek mythology with it,
Mhm.
as it was associated with a couple of the gods.
Question: did Zeus fuck it or try to fuck it at any certain time?
No, but Zeus had them as his kind of like dogs, kind of.
Yeah, they were his, basically his Cerberus.
Oh, okay.
The other deities that were associated with it was Apollo and Dionysus.
Checks out.
Dionysus definitely makes sense. Fuck Apollo.
They kind of used griffins to pull their carriages.
Dionysus is an extra bitch, for sure.
And the griffins were used to pull Apollo's carriage for all his duties with the sun, I believe.
Mm.
Another one who used them was Nemesis.
I'm surprised Narcissus isn't on that list.
That's swans. You know he had swans.
Pulling his carriage? That doesn't sound effective to me.
You just get 1,000.
I think from what I read, Nemesis used them in battle.
Oh, so he was a badass.
Because Nemesis is one of Ares' kids.
Oh, that's fair.
Eventually, the legend and lore of the Griffin kind of evolved and kept kind of growing, with people adding their own twists and stuff to it. Like it was said in medieval times that Griffins only mated for life. So they'd have one mate, they'd mate for life. If their mate died, they would not find a new mate. And because of this, the church adapted griffins.
Now the church is involved?
Yeah.
When isn't it?
Fair point.
Yeah, it was made the symbol for the church's opposition for remarriage, and eventually just kept on growing and evolving, where more kind of conquerors and rulers and like high noble people adapted the symbol of a griffin as their coat of arms and such, because the king of the land, they said, was the lion, and the king of the skies was an eagle. So if they have both in one monster, it's the king of both sky and land. So they adapted those as their symbol for coat of arms.
Checks out.
And the griffin, going back to kind of the church, the griffin kind of became a symbol of Christianity during these times because of the connection to both sky and land. They considered it somewhat similar to Jesus being part divine, part human. And some people only kind of thought the griffin symbolized the Pope. So there's kind of two versions of one symbol for the same two different things. And can you guess the number one hated creature of a griffin?
Dragon?
It definitely has to be serpent, like a serpent-like creature. Am I on the head with that? No?
Unicorn?
That's closer.
I don't know why you just fucking came at unicorns like that. Centaurs?
Unicorns are closer.
Centaurs?
Nope.
Okay, so is the horse the closeness?
Yes.
A Pegasus.
Just plain horses.
Just horses? What did horses do to them?
Yeah, why?
It's because of a story that they're in of a group of people called the Sapiens, which is a humanoid group that has one eye.
It's a cyclops? I don't understand. We just like adding sapiens onto the end.
That's what they were called in the story.
I just wasn't prepared for that. Funny. It was in my head, I guess, in my ADHD brain, because I wasn't like honed in on how you were saying it. It was like, how about him as sapiens? I was like, what? What did you just say to me? Ammo sapiens, amemo sapiens, amiibo sapiens. My brain has still not registered what the fuck that word was.
A Rima sapiens. I copy pasted the word for you.
Rima sapiens. Thank you. I'm okay. I promise. You can continue.
This is because they kept stealing all the Griffin's gold.
Okay.
And instead of blaming the people mounted on the horse, they just blamed the horse.
It's literally shoot the messenger. The Griffins were like, you know what, you four-legged motherfuckers, you're the reason they're getting.
You brought him here. You're fucked.
Oh my god.
Not even shot the messenger; they just shot the ride.
Yeah, literally.
And to go on with horses, and to come around back to what we were talking about in the beginning, there's many variations of the hippogriff.
Mm-hmm.
So we had kind of like the winged lions, which are in the hippogriff family. They probably just got a genetic mutation where they got more lion than eagle. Then there is the hippogriff, which we talked about, which is, for some reason, a griffin didn't hate a horse, but a griffin mated with a horse and produced a hippogriff.
That horse in particular was innocent.
There are wingless griffins, which is just a lion with the eagle face.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are sea griffins. The sea griffins have the same standard configuration up front as a regular griffin, the eagle face, talons up front. But then when it gets back to its butt, it turns into a mermaid tail or fish tail.
I hate that.
I think I've seen that, and I hate it.
It is usually on German noble families' coat of arms.
Love that.
Checks out.
Then there is Opinicus.
What?
Or Epimachus.
Mm-hmm.
It's another version of griffin, which has the eagle head, 4 legs of a lion, and here's the difference: has a neck and tail of a dromedary.
A what?
A dromedary is kind of like a camel. So it's a griffin with a camel neck.
Ew. That's an Arima sapien. I don't like that.
But as these camel necked griffins grow, they then grow their wings in. So they can fly, have a long neck, eagle head, and that's everything. What do you guys think of the griffin?
I like OG one. Don't like the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
You guys like to move on media? Some examples, like we mentioned before, were Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts. There's griffins in Warhammer, pretty much every fantasy show. Tales of Dungeons and Dragons, Narnia, Spiderwick Chronicles, Digimon, My Little Pony. There's griffins in Percy Jackson. And the funniest one I found was The Big Bang Theory. Have you guys seen the show?
Yes.
Well, Sheldon Cooper, Dr. Sheldon Cooper in the show, attempted to create a griffin, but he could not obtain the necessary eagle eggs and lion semen.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Sheldon. Leave it to Sheldon.
Well, that's all the media I had.
Perfect. Mayhem.
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 Mayhem is children been given griffins.
I would put them in the jock category for sure. They just give off jock vibes.
Yeah. Especially when
And-
My Little Pony.
And the fact that they're like the Letterman wearing jocks, because horses are also jocks, but they're minding their business and getting beat the fuck up by the griffins. So like they're Letterman jocks. I think that I don't think overall that they'd cause harmful mayhem to us. I feel like we'd actually be pretty good friends with them as long as we treated them right.
And you're not a horse.
I am not a horse. Centaurs might have a hard time.
They only half hate centaurs. I would put them in accounting because they love gold.
Uh-huh.
I bet they can keep people on budget. And I'd say the opposite. I'd say they would cause mayhem and going around eating all the elephants, all the giraffes, horses. Do you know how crazy horse people can be?
Uh-huh.
Just watching the Kentucky Derby and a griffin just swoops down, takes the lead horse.
Would that be like a buffet for them?
I'd imagine that'd be like one of those sushi restaurants with the sushi on the little tray that comes around. You just grab.
Yeah.
And people would be trying to ride griffins
True.
Yeah.
because they see it in media.
Kaotic maybe would.
Would you try riding a griffin?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'd have a griffin best friend though. I mean, if he let me ride him, whatever. But like, we'd be best friends. So, especially if it looks like that My Little Pony griffin, slay, slay. Anybody I hated, I'd be like, that's a horse in disguise. Best believe.
I also think people would be bothering the griffins a lot by trying to steal all their gold, which would cause their own injuries,
I mean, that's what you get for thieving.
Thieving.
and or trying to steal their feathers for the cure to blindness.
I just want one for like a fancy riding quill. Maybe with permission, consent matters. Like a griffin down bed or blanket. That'd be nice.
That'd be a lot of feathers from a griffin to make a bed. That'd be like multiple griffins.
No, they're big though. They're huge.
They'd be pokey.
There's got to be a way to make it nice.
All right, bed scientists of the podcast listeners, how many griffins would it take to fill a mattress? Where would you place some, Bird?
I'm gonna go with Jock. I feel like, the thing with the horses and the giraffes and the elephants, those are very, particularly looking animals, and I feel like they're this I'm gonna stuff you in a locker kind of Jock.
Yeah. It follows the king of the sky and land that they gave him later on. Well, with that, we'll wrap up today's episode. To thank our patron supporters of Mondi, Nuggies, Ruby, and Mage. And as a podcast news, I have been doing some polls at the end of each podcast, which you can find on Spotify. They're usually up for about a month. The one that just ended, by the time you guys get this, is, should Ruby face her fears of the frogmen?
Yeah.
Everybody votes yes. 3 people vote yes, Ruby. You should face your fear of the frogmen.
Don't worry, we'll just take her to a frogman.
Yeah, that's pretty much all the podcast news.
Hang on. I need you to repeat after me, okay?
Okay.
You got to talk in the mic, okay?
Okay.
Say thank you
Thank you
for listening
for listening
to Monsters,
to Masters,
Myths,
Rest.
and Mayhem Podcast.
Yeah.
Say it. And Mayhem Podcast.
Mayhem Podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
There's no Chaotic news. Chaotic switched her schedule now. She has a new stream schedule. I stream Wednesday, 7 p.m. EST, and then Thursday, Friday, 9 a.m. EST. So if you'd like to catch some morning streams and vibe with me, I'd love to have you at the end of the week. I'd love to have you guys at the end of the week tell me all your accomplishments, all the things you're going to do for the weekend. But yeah, that's the new schedule at the moment.
Okay, then with that, Chaotic with the outro.
Thank you for listening to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Silver and Chaotic take you into the depth of the lore and discuss how these legends could affect modern-day society. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or almost any podcast service easiest to you. Dive into the depths of chaos with us every Wednesday, bar Silver and Chaotic not missing their scheduling, and consider joining the podcast Discord or Twitter following even more insider looks and even some D&D sessions. If you'd like some extra special inside looks or even want to be a guest on the show, consider helping us via Patreon. Your help makes such a big difference to us both. Until next time, Mythics, you never know what kind of mayhem we might get into.